It's time for a book haul. Hi, my name is Jeanette, and I want to thank you for joining me on the channel Jane Reads. So today I'm going to share a book haul of all the books I've acquired from Q1. So January, February, and March. I'm going to include physical and Kindle books, so all the books. I have shown or talked about majority of the physical books in random vlogs that I've done in the last 3 months. However, I don't think I've ever talked about the Kindle books that I have decided to purchase or add to my Kindle. And so I'm going to talk about those here. But I wanted to have kind of all the books I've acquired in a video together, because I would like to, in the future, go back and rewatch some of the book hauls and be like, okay, have I read that book yet? And if not, why haven't I? And I need to add it to my TBR, like now, like when I watch that video, not at this present moment in time. But yes, so some of these will be repeats if you've watched the vlogs, but bear with me, please. Okay. So I have my reading journal here where I list every book that I acquire in that month. So I'm just going to go through it. I have acquired. What is the word I'm looking for? I've commandeered, that's it, my husband's tablet so that I can look up the Kindle books to give you a little bit of what they're about, because obviously I don't have a back summary to read and I don't know offhand what they're all about. So let's just dive right in. The first book is a Kindle book. Actually, the first 4 are Kindle books. And the very first one is Emerald Windows by Terri Blackstock. I am working my way through her backlist. I have read a lot of them, but not all of them. And this is one that I have not read. And it was on sale for $1.99. So I was like, let's do it. So it says, 10 years ago, devastated by an ugly scandal, Brooke Martin fled the small town of Hayden to pursue a career as a stained glass artist. Now Brooke has returned on business to discover that some things never change. Her spotted reputation remains. Tongues still wag. And that makes what should be her dream assignment tough. Brooke has been hired to design a new stained glass window at Hayden Bible Church. The job is a career windfall, but Nick Marcello is overseeing the project, and some in the church think Nick and Brooke's relationship is not entirely professional, and as before, there is no convincing these people otherwise. So, yeah. So that is book number 1. Book number 2 is To Belong Together by Emily Conrad. This is book number 2 of her Rhythms of Redemption Romances series. And I have read book 1, and this was free on Kindle, so sure, I'll pick it up. So it says, opposites attract, but do an undercover rock star and a female mechanic belong together? So that's all I'm going to read. It is book 2 of a series. It is a romance. It is clean. So, okay. Then the next book was also free on Kindle, and it is Confessions to a Stranger by Danielle Grandinetti. I probably butchered that last name. And this is book 1 of Harbored in Crow's Nest. And apparently, wow, there's 5 books in this series apparently. It is a 2004 CELA Awards finalist. She's lost her future. He's sacrificed his. Now they have a chance to reclaim it together. Wisconsin, 1930. While fleeing for her life, Adelaide Serlin's rescue of a child introduces her to a family who provides her safe harbor. But all is not what it seems in this little fishing town. Danger lurks. And though hiding under an assumed name, Adelaide offers her ability to draw out confessions, making her a valuable asset to police. First mate David Martins is intrigued by the mysterious woman taken in by his grandmother, but knows she wrestles with a troubled past. When his estranged father is arrested for murder, David enlists Adelaide's help in proving his innocence. In return, he's determined to help her find hope once again. So, and I don't know, there's something about this cover that just intrigues me, and that just sounded good. Okay, then the next book was actually a gift, and I got At Love's Command by Karen Witemeyer. This is book 1 of the Hangers Horseman series. I have read this series. I've read this book twice, but I love this series. This is not my favorite of the series, but I still love the series, and I needed to complete the series. So when I received this as a gift, that was amazing. Thank you. And I still have the gift note inside it as well, because it belongs together, right? Okay, so that is that book. Then I found at the thrift store for $2 The Governess of Highland Hall by Carrie Turansky. So one of my favorite books is No Ocean Too Wide by Carrie Turansky. So I'm trying to read through her backlist. So when I saw this one, it was like, okay. And I love books set kind of in the, I want to say Regency, but it might not be, but really kind of overseas in England, that kind of thing. And it says, worlds lie between the marketplaces of India and the halls of magnificent country estate like Highland Hall. Will Julia be able to find her place when a governess is neither upstairs family nor downstairs help? Okay, and then the last book I acquired in January was Embers of London Sky by Sarah Sundin. And I have read this one. I actually read it in January, so I already have a review for my, I think it's included in the January wrap-up. But yes, this is set in London, World War II. We're following Aleda. I could be saying her name wrong. She is being separated from her child when they were escaping Germany. And so now she's in London trying to search for her son. And we're following her story and journey through that. Really enjoyed this one. Okay, let's move on to February. Okay, and the first few books are Kindle again. They were on a Kindle sale for $2.99. And I picked up Is It Any Wonder by Courtney Walsh. This is book number 2 of the Nantucket Love Story, which I am hoping to read this month. We'll see. I have read this one before, so I'm hoping to reread it, but I didn't own it. And so it is book number 2, so I'm only going to read the tagline on it. And can a promise made as kids bring them back together as adults? In this Nantucket set beach read, master of the genre, Courtney Walsh delivers a sparkling inspirational romance about first love and second chances. And I remember really enjoying this one. So, yeah. Okay, then the next one was also on a Kindle sale for $2.49, and that is Memory Lane by Becky Wade. This is book number 1 of her Sons of Scandal series. And it says, after surviving a trauma several years back, Remy Reed relocated to a cottage on one of Maine's remote islands. She's arranged her life just the way she wants it, spending her time working on her wood sculptures and soaking in the beauty of nature. It's quiet and solitary until the day she spots something bobbing in the ocean. And I'm pretty sure this is considered a contemporary romance, so there will be romance in it. Pretty sure. It is the only Becky Wade series that I have not read. So yes, I personally am not a huge fan of this cover, so I'm okay having it on my Kindle because I don't have to see the cover. But that's just personal. I don't like illustrated covers. Okay, then I found, what is the actual book called? Okay, so Desperate Search, it's 2 books in one. And it's got Following the Trail by Lynette Eason and Dangerous Mountain Rescue by Christy Barritt. Now, I did own Dangerous Mountain Rescue by Christy Barritt, but I did not own the Lynette Eason book. So when I saw this one for $1, it was like, okay, let's replace it. And it just worked. Okay, then also at that same thrift store, I picked up Before We Were Yours by Lisa Wingate. I have heard really good things about this book, so I thought, well, let's give Lisa another try. I have read a few books by her, not a huge fan, but I've heard really good things about this book, and I really like kind of orphan stories, so I thought, I'll try it. Then I found The Marriage Wish by D. Henderson, also at the same thrift store. I'm not a fan of this cover, but I'm thinking I'll probably get rid of the dust jacket because the underneath is just a nice black with the name on the side. Like, that's my kind of cover. I don't know anything about this book really. It is older. This one was published, 1998, so it's quite a bit older, but I have read probably like majority of D. Henderson's books, if not all but this one, but majority for sure. So I'm like, okay, I want to read that one because that is one of the authors I want to read to zero. Okay, then I got at the thrift, I got this at the Christian bookstore, was Lights Out by Natalie Walters. I read the novella for this, and I really enjoyed it, and I thought, I want to give this author a try. So this is book 1 of her Snap Agency series, and I've heard really good things, and it was 50% off, so I'm like, I'm going to give it a try. It is a romantic suspense, and it is blurbed by Susan May Warren, Lynette Eason, and James Hannibal. I don't know who that is, but yeah. So CIA analyst Bryn Taylor developed a new program to combat terrorism, and she invited members of foreign intelligence agencies to America to foster cooperation between countries. Now one of them, Egyptian spy Remen Raid, is missing. Jack Hudson has been working for the Strategic Naturalization and Protection Agency for almost 9 years and takes the lead in hunting down the missing spy. But he isn't all that pleased to find Bryn is involved. It's hard to trust a woman who's already betrayed you. What? Yeah, I'm really intrigued about this. Then I also picked up Love Me Tender by Janice Hanna. This was only $1.99 at the Christian bookstore, so I was like, okay, I'll give it a try. And I have really enjoyed a lot of Janice. I want to say Janice Thompson, but Janice Hanna is Janice Thompson. So I've really enjoyed a lot of her books, and this one is set 1950s, 1960s. Sweet sells a soda shop. So I thought, well, let's give it a try. Then I found Stars in the Night by Cara C. Putman. And this one was only $5.99. I took the price off. No, it's only $3.99 because I write the prices in my journal as well. And it is a historical fiction. I have read a lot of Cara Putman's works and I've really enjoyed them. And they do tend to have kind of a lawyer involved in some of them. And this one says, any other day, attorney Audra Schaefer might have been flattered by the friendly overtures of Robert Garfield, a real-life movie star. But on the flight from Indianapolis to Hollywood, Audra can think of little else than finding her missing sister. When Audra arrives in the city of glitz, glamour, and stars and learns her rising scarlet sister has been murdered, all thoughts of romance fly away. So it's like a suspense, possible romance, I think historical, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, and I really like this cover. I don't know, there's something about it. In Search of a Prince by Toni Shiloh. I have never read this author before. This was another one that was marked 50% off. And actually more, it was only $8. And I have heard really good things about this in comparison to The Princess Diaries, which I really enjoyed. So I'm like, yeah, let's give it a try. And another one I thought, well, let's take a risk on. And this is Yours is the Night by Amanda Dykes, another author I've never read. I understand this is a dual timeline, and set Great War. The trenches of the Great War are a shadowed place. Though platoon sergeant Matthew Pettigrew arrived there with a past long marked by shadow, the realities of battle bring new wounds, carving within him a longing for light and a resolve to fight for it. One night, Matthew and his comrades are enraptured by a sound so pure, a voice so ethereal. It offers reprieve, even if only for a moment. Soon, rumors sweep the trenches from others who have heard the lullaby too. The angel of Aragon, they call the voice, a mysterious presence who leaves behind wreaths on unmarked graves. Raised in the wild depths of the forests of Aragon, Morellis finds her reclusive world rocked. When Matthew and his two unlikely companions discover Morellis, they must embark on a journey that will change each of them forever, and perhaps at long last spark light in the dark. On the 100th anniversary of the dedication of the tomb of the unknown soldier comes an emotive tale inspired by the courageous soldiers of World War I. So maybe it's not a dual timeline. Not sure now. But we will find out when I dive into it. I have not yet. And then the last book I purchased in February was The Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis. I read this one on my Kindle, and I read this as part of Krista's read-along that she did in February. This was not a book for me, but yeah, I'm glad that I did not purchase it physically because, yeah, Kindle was much cheaper. Okay, but if I hadn't participated in that read-along, I would have never finished it. And there was some really good, like, kind of insights to it, made you think. So I'm glad to say that I have read it. I will not be rereading it, though. Okay, then in March. I don't have as many books in March, which is probably a good thing because my TBR is long enough as it is. But the first book I bought was If the Boot Fits by Karen Witemeyer. Now, I did have an advanced reader copy on my Kindle for this book, and I had started. I'd read 2 chapters, and then we were at the Christian bookstore, and I had a coupon, and I was like, I'm going to buy this book. So then I read the rest of the book physically. And so I bought it on a Saturday. I started 2 chapters Friday night. I bought it on Saturday. I finished it Monday. I really enjoyed this book, and I already have a wrap-up about it. It is a historical romance. And that same day, I picked up Edge of Dusk by Colleen Coble. I found this one at the thrift store. This is book 1 of an Annie Peterson novel, is what it says. Oh, the sticker is right over the description, so I can't tell you what the beginning says. We're following Annie Peterson on the edge of dusk. I've just heard really good things about it, and I've enjoyed a lot of Colleen's books that I have read, so yeah, I'm... Okay, then I picked up a couple Kindle books. So the first one I bought was Easter Bride by Shanna Hatfield. This is book number 3 of the Holiday Brides series. I have read this one before, but it was free on Kindle, and I didn't own a copy. I'd read it on Kindle Unlimited, so I thought, well, why not? I remember really enjoying this series, and we are following meddling matchmakers. Piper loves the small community of Holiday, Oregon. She resides there at a beautiful old farm where she's surrounded by animals she's rescued, and she manages the feed store that's been in her family for more than 100 years. Despite her contentment with life, her grandfather's plans to sell the store and farm leave her future up in the air. When a sly matchmaker works to set Grandpa up with the perfect woman, Piper jumps at the chance to lend a hand. But the last thing she expects is to fall in love while helping her grandpa find happiness. So yeah, I just remember it being a really cute story and enjoyable. And then the other Kindle book that I purchased was also by Shanna Hatfield. It was also free. And that one is called Henley. It says it is book number 2 of the Love Train series, which is written by multiple authors. But it also says that it can be read like as a standalone. Don't have to read the series. And it says, love is a gamble and heartbreak is a risk she's willing to take. Despite her dreams to set down roots, Henley Jones has never had a place to call home. She spent her life on riverboats and rail cars, tagging along with her gambling father. A shootout during a card game results in his death, leaving Henley alone and nearly penniless. Out of luck and options, Henley agrees to travel across the country to the newly established town of Holiday, Oregon, to marry a stranger. So this one is historical, and the Easter Bride that is also set in Holiday, Oregon is contemporary. So that's really cool that she's created this community and then does historical and contemporary. So yeah, I really enjoy that. And she agrees to marry a stranger. So is this a marriage of convenience? I have not read this one, and I do want to read this one. And then the last book that I picked up was The Day the World Came to Town by Jim DeFeed. I'm not sure. This one is the true story behind the smash hit musical Come From Away. So the story of 9/11 in Gander, Newfoundland. When I did my places I want to visit, or books set in places I want to visit, and I asked for recommendations for books set in Newfoundland, this was a book that came a couple times. It was recommended, and then it was on an Amazon sale, and I was like, okay, I'm going to pick it up. So I've got it now. And yeah, so it just, when 38 jetliners bound for the United States were forced to land in Gander, Newfoundland on September 11, 2001, due to the closing of the U.S. airspace, the citizens of the small community and surrounding towns were called upon to care for thousands of distraught travelers. And so yeah, I'm very intrigued. I have wanted to see Come From Away, but I have never seen it. So I will be happy with reading the book. So those are all the books that I acquired in the last 3 months. So now I can look back on this video in, I don't know, 6 months, a year's time, 2 years time, I don't know when, and see, have I read them yet? So there's already a couple that I have read already. So that's a good start. At least some of them are read, right? So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this video today. I would love to chat in the comments below. Is there any on this list that you have read and really enjoyed that I have not yet read, that I really should kind of move up to my top of my list that I really should read? I'd love to know. Just share your thoughts. Thank you. Have a good day. Bye.